One thing you may want to do while you're looking for work, whether you've started a company or just advertising your skills, is build your own website. I jumped into that knowing nothing. I wish I'd known a guy like Sadiq Nathani of Murder Enterprise Incorporated. He knows all about this stuff. I've talked to him recently, and he gave me some great pointers on my website. Sadiq, people are coming into this cold. They've never built a website. What do they need to know?
Well, Craig, thank you firstly for having me here to share some tips.
Thank you for your knowledge.
My pleasure. See, when a website is a wonderful tool, and it can really benefit, an individual, a business owner to promote their business. Just to share some basics of a website. A website is like your online brochure, which is there on the internet, and it's there, in fact, 24/7, 365 days a year, and can be viewed anywhere in the world. So that's an amazing potential, right? Now, there are a few components to a website one should keep in mind. It starts off with a domain name. So, for example, www.myrnaenterprise.ca. That's like your postbox address. Mm-hmm. And ideally, when choosing a domain name, you would name your website or domain name after your company. That is one strategy. Now, a domain name, there are many extensions like .com, .ca for Canadian-based businesses. You can check on websites like GoDaddy and others to see if the name is available. And if that name is, then you should book it, right? Once a name is booked, that domain belongs to you. You are the legal owner of that domain name for the period that you book it for. So it can be 1 year or maximum up to 10. Now that you have your domain established, let's get on to the next component, which is your website. And there's a third part also to it, which is after your website is ready, you would need to host it. And it's very similar to buying a piece of land and building your house on it. Your house would be your website, and your piece of land would be something called the web hosting, where it resides on. So in order to get a really wonderful home, as you put it, with all the aesthetics that you really, that you love, both interior and exterior, there are certain things one should have. And the first and primary thing when building a home is your architect plan, right? A plan, a blueprint. What is your blueprint of your website, right? So there is, firstly, it is to do more in terms of your purpose. What is your goal of your website? Who is your target audience? What are the things that you wish to achieve? Is your website going to portray a fun image, maybe because it's addressing to a younger audience like children, or it may be a preschool, or to a more serious business audience? It could be for an accountant, which you might want to portray a more serious corporate image, or a law firm, for example. So in terms of defining your goals of your website, who your target audience is, you would then come to the next very most important component, is having like a brand identity. Your brand identity is nothing but your logo and the colors you use. And it is a really good idea to follow that strategy throughout your site, so that your brand colors speak, your website speaks the same language your logo speaks, and your other marketing collaterals. It could be your brochure, your visiting cards. So there's some kind of consistency, right? So that's more in terms of the design. But let's again step back and take a look at more what are the components to a website. So it could, like similar to a house, you may have your front porch, you may have your hallway entry, your dining room, your bedrooms. So what are the different components of such your virtual home, which is your website? So your website can be broken down into various pages or components. So it's a good idea to jot down what information you would like to convey. So typically, a website would have a home page, which is the first page a viewer comes on and they see. That is the opening page of your site. You may then have a profile and about us, which talks about your business, how you got established, your story. You
Mhm.
can make it as fun or personal as you want, or a very serious portrayed image, depending on the nature of your business.
And for a lot of people, even if they're not a company, if they're presenting themselves, they can put a lot of their experiences on there.
Yeah, absolutely.
It could be like a resume.
Yes, exactly. It can be like a virtual resume, and it can highlight your, the years of experience, the kind of background, the awards and certifications. These are very important components, to a website as well. It establishes credibility when individuals or customers come visit your site. It could be a site, maybe you may just have a website just to maybe to portray your professional skills. It can be a personal website. It doesn't necessarily always have to be a company website, right? So your personal website can be like a professional portfolio of who you are, what you do, and some of the projects you may have worked on, your expertise, your skills, and use videos, use images, make it colorful. It's not just a plain text. And when we find that there are these rich mediums, you get people more interested in it.
So, and there's a couple of options there too. Uh, for people who are totally green, like I was, uh, you can either hire someone to build a website, someone like you. There are people out there who do that. There are also things like GoDaddy. I use Squarespace that
Hmm.
have some uh, sort of prefab options for you. They
Absolutely.
will show you different styles that you can use. And I'm going to just tell you one from personal experience.
Sure, please
When I
do.
was getting going, I had a million things that I wanted to do. And I said, okay, this afternoon, I'm sitting down and building my website.
Okay.
It did not, I could not get it done in an afternoon. That
Oh.
was, I made
Yes.
myself crazy, and I think I made my family crazy too. So I think you want to, even with these things which are simple to use, you want to leave some time to learn and watch the videos and not stress yourself out too much about it. You want to make sure that you're giving it enough time to go in there. And even if you've made your own, it's still good to seek professional help to take a look at it and see what else you can do and answer questions for how to fix the things you don't know how to fix.
Yes. That's a really valid point, Craig, and I totally agree with you. There are lovely tools out there on the internet which allow one to build your own website. And if you have the time, do take, as you mentioned, time to first see a video tutorial. It will save you a whole lot of time and effort
Yeah.
and heartache. When you build the whole page and you press the wrong button and whoops, everything goes. And but so that's where that tip comes really in handy, and I agree with you on that. There are and of course, once you have something made, there are lovely tools as you mentioned, like Squarespace. Google itself has a web building tool itself. There's WordPress.org, which you can build your website on. They have some lovely tools as well, and you can do many things on it as well. And once the site is ready, I do take help of an expert, especially for things uh, to just touch up. It can be a fine tune that can make a world of a difference, to your site when you achieve those things.
Sadiq, just quickly, because we've covered a lot of ground. I think it's all really useful. What does your company do?
My company is called Myrna Enterprise Inc., and we are a digital marketing company. Our primary focus is web design and development. We like to understand our clients' needs, what their objectives are, and then we come up with a digital solution which would comprise of a website and other tools to help market it online.
Well, Sadiq and I have only known each other a little bit, but he took a look at my website, which I have had much praise about. And he went through and identified a lot of things that I should be doing with it, and just whip smart, to the point. Really appreciated all the help. And Sadiq is a good guy. He's somebody you want to talk to. Sadiq, thank you so much for spending time today. We could talk about website for hours, but I think the basics are there. There's some platforms you can use. There are people you can go to help. It's going to take some time, and really think about what you want it to do and what information you want out there.
Yeah, absolutely. And just the last word I would say is that prepare ahead of time, so that it would really help with all the information. And don't worry, feel free to make mistakes. It's a journey, right? You won't get it perfect the first time, and trust me, it's okay. Don't worry. The main thing is to get out there, experience it, and you'll do well.
And once it's out there, you can make it better all the time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just because it's that way, it's not finished.
Yeah, that's the beauty of these tools that are there. They make it very easy, user friendly, to edit information just with a few clicks of a button. So it's become a lot easier than what it was 15, 20 years back.
Sadiq, thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate it. Thanks for your expertise. I think you're helping a lot of people who could use some information right now.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me, Craig.